Welcome to the Age Groupies podcast. I'm Mike Ergo, and along with my co-host Lindsay Hyken, we are here to talk about the intersection of endurance sports and mental health. Join us each week as we interview inspiring athletes and coaches, mental health experts, or discuss our own journey with you all. Now, let's get to the show. Hey guys, it's Mike here. I want to talk to you a little bit about UCAN Superstarch, my preferred sports nutrition for triathlon, running, and more. I've been using UCAN for about a year and a half, and what I love about it is that it stabilizes my blood sugar, and I notice this by the fact that I don't have any spikes or crashes. Anyone who's ever raced or trained hard knows that with a lot of the sports nutrition stuff out there, you can get a nice burst of energy, but then it's kind of like a bright flame, burns bright, then goes out quickly, and then you crash, and then you're hungry again, and you got to repeat that cycle, and eventually you get gassy, bloated, you just feel yucky. I don't have any of those problems with UCAN because I can take it an hour to a half hour to even 15 minutes before an event and feel great. And the thing is, it keeps me going. I've used only a few bottles of UCAN to complete 3 70.3 mile triathlons last year, and I never felt hungry. That was the thing. I was a skeptic at first, but I've come to really love UCAN. So if you guys want to check it out and get some of your own, check out our show notes and click the link there, and you guys will save at least 10%, depending on what kind of deals are going on. So check it out. Look in the show notes, click the link, and check out UCAN. Hey everyone, welcome back to Age Groupies, and today we got a special guest. We got a Marine motivational speaker, triathlete, Morgon Latimore. Morgan, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, man? It's a pleasure to be here. I heard your name everywhere. Like it's like because we both Marines. It's like Mike, Mike, Mike. I'm like
Ditto.
I've talked to him a little bit, but I don't know him. So let me just reach out to him and be like, "What's up, Mike?"
Yeah, same here, Morgan. It's the same here, man. Everybody's saying the same thing. I was like, we run in all these like same circles, and it's like we finally get to meet and hang out and talk. So this is cool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not
sure.
a Marine, but I'm looking at you and you look a lot more like me than most triathletes do.
Yeah.
So I'm really stoked about that.
Explain. What is that? Explain. What do you mean?
Just like racially, like your composition in terms of like your skin tone,
Yeah.
the way that you know.
That almond hazelnut.
That's right. Yeah. There's a lot of paleness out there on the course. So when I see another mocha almond hazelnut looking person, I'm like, woo! We're out here.
This is real. Yeah, this is real. It's something that especially when people, I'm not a big deal, but like I am in a bigger range of circle when it comes to like in front of the public eye, because I do a lot of things with Ironman and other brands, and so because it's in. And at first when I started, even coming, especially coming from the military, everybody's diverse, so you don't even look at color. Like it's not a thing. Right. It's like you my brother, you my sister, I don't care. And I saw triathlon the same way, right? Mm-hmm. But as I started to grow my own brand within triathlon, people started to say, man, it's good to see you got a brother out there. It's good to see this and good to see that. I'm like, man, I'm just doing me, bro. I just treat everybody the same. Like, I don't really care what color you are. You can be purple. It doesn't matter to me. As long as you got a good heart and you're a good person. Right. And I think that's where what triathlon is all about. Like we talk about this divide sometimes, and I don't think it was an intentional divide in triathlon. I think there are people within it that do it, right? Obviously we got those singular people, but
I think the community is very welcoming, and I have the same experience. Yes. Like on the race course, I don't get the feeling from. I've been in rooms where I'm the only person who's black, everyone else is white, and I've had that. There's been a vibe of like everyone else around me is sort of like, oh, there's a black person. I don't get that vibe in triathlon at all. No one seems to care. We're like all out here, which I love. And so when they were like last year, when there was sort of like a lot of discussion about, it was about Black Lives Matter, really, but people were saying, well, we got to get more black people in triathlon. I mean, it would be nice to see people of color in triathlon, but I've said to a few people, like, it's not because race directors and triathletes are not welcoming. It's more of a socioeconomical, cultural thing than anything else. Why there aren't more Black people in triathlon? It's just, I mean, inner city Black kids don't really have access to like a road bike and there may not be swimming necessarily. There just may not be as like available, but it's not that the triathlon isn't welcoming in terms of the people. At least that was my experience. I felt like everyone's super open and welcoming. And so maybe what we need to overcome is just exposure to other, I don't know, but I don't think it's a race issue. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, I mean, I think if you take the black and white out of it, like the only way you're gonna know about triathlon is to know about triathlon. Like you have to be exposed to it, and so it's less likely for someone of I don't care what color you are in a level of poverty, because everybody can't afford the $300-400 race entries because when they need to pay their bills and they're barely making ends meet and things like that. Like so, it doesn't mean color, but if there's more, if we want more, right, that means educating the next level. That means showing them what their possibilities are, and exposing them to levels of education and environments where they're cultivated by professionals, not triathletes. And then they can, me, I saw triathlon through, as I'm a Marine, right? But I'm a paralegal, so I deal with a lot of attorneys. And so there are a lot of attorneys that were collegiate swimmers, there were cyclists. In the hood, I don't know nothing about that. I'm like, what is that? I ain't wearing no tights on no bike. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But when I knew it existed, I was like, oh, that seems pretty different. Let's try it out. And here we are.
Yeah. Culturally, I think, I was thinking about that. Like if especially, and you're right, it's not a race thing. It's like more of a socioeconomic thing, but culturally, I don't see, my sister lives in Athens, Ohio, which is a college town, but it's at the base of the Appalachians. So she's a school nurse. So there's like a whole crew. These are not Black, these are white kids, but they're living in the trailer parks on the, the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And it's a little hectic out there. I don't see them, the same attitude would be like, you want me to wear what and do what?
Exactly.
They just would not want to, because there wouldn't be an understanding necessarily right off the bat of like what it's about. I think they'd enjoy it once they figured it out. But that said, it is still fun to see somebody of color on the course, because it
always.
I always enjoy that.
Yeah, it's a little
drop.
Yeah. It's not the same for me, but when I do see another like super pale redhead out there, we have that little nod with a little wink, be like, I see you. I see you.
We're burning up out here.
You got some sunscreen on, brother?
That's what the thing is, like, I have these conversations, but do I walk around thinking about it or looking to be like, super political or confrontational about it? No, man, it's just like I was listening to something. Oh man, it was crazy. Morgan Freeman was being interviewed. It was about Black History Month, and it was like it said, how do we stop talking about it? How do we stop dealing with this type of the how people try to like, well, either self-segregate or segregate us in general, right? It's that we stop talking about it. Like we start saying like, hey, he's Mike, or he's whoever he is or she is as a person, not as that Black guy or that white guy or that redhead or like whatever it is. It's seeing us each other as who we are. That's what makes triathlon in the community so valuable, because like you said, majority 90% of us don't give a damn.
Yeah. Hey, I'm slow, so let me just tell you, at the back end of an Ironman, no one cares. I mean, no one is caring about color. We're all just trying to help each other, encourage each other to get to the finish line. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's dark by that time, so you can't notice anyways.
Exactly.
Just trying to, you can't see anyway because you're so damn depleted. You're like, oh my God. Like, can you please help me? You taking drinks from whoever is giving them out, and food from whoever. Because I'm gluten free. I don't care right now. I just need something.
That's right. Or just like a little bit of like, in Ironman Santa Rosa, we would just kind of, because did you do that course, Santa Rosa?
I have never done Santa Rosa, but I did it when it was Vyman. I did
sure.
Vyman
nice.
half and Vyman full. I did it back then. Yeah.
Yeah, Vineman was great. I did the half out there in Barb's race, but the Santa Rosa, and this probably wouldn't matter to you. It didn't. I don't think it mattered to Mike. But when it gets dark, because it's on a trail most of the run, so when it gets dark, there's no lights at all. Like they hand out little headlamps because you literally can't
Really?
see. Yeah, there's nothing. It's along a river and it's a trail. It's like a dirt path, and there's no lights at all. So
Yeah.
except for at the aid station, they have like a generator with a light. So at some point it's just you and your mind and this little point of light and whatever other points of light are out there. So it's really not about male, female, like race, anything. It's just like, oh, I see another point of light. Let me run over there and we can run together for a little bit.
Well, occasionally you get a little like spark of light from people like, freebasing or like smoking crack on the river.
There was that element that showed back up in the park.
Wow, are you serious? Holy crap.
Yeah,
park was closed, and then there was I did hear a
local flavor
shows
jogging,
up, and there was like a crackhead in the bushes, and I saw him with my headlamp, and I was like, I'm gonna pick the pace up because I'm out here by myself right now.
Yeah.
But it is, it's not just you literally Santa Rosa or Vyman in that area, right? It's dark as hell out there. It's the country, right? It's
Exactly.
The moon. If the moon ain't out, it ain't no light anyway.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Crazy. That reminds me of a race I was doing. Oh man, I was doing Ragnar SoCal. The first year it was there, and we were coming through Santa Ana, and it's like you get the concrete little ditches and stuff like that. A waterway, and literally swear full God, right, that somebody was shooting up on the trail.
Nice.
I was like, no way, this is cray.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
To see it right there. Yeah, I'm familiar with that scene in the streets of San Francisco when I used to work there. It's a weird thing when you first see it actually happen. Well, that being said, how did you said, okay, being a paralegal in the Marine Corps, around a lot of attorneys, how did you finally get convinced to get into multi-sport and triathlon?
That's a long story, but like,
it's a long podcast.
I like hard things.
Like
I like hard things, man. I think the first type of event I've ever done, I was at it was in 99 in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and it was a mud run.
Yeah.
Right. And it was hard as hell. It was like, and you do hard things in the Marine Corps too, but like, I like to hurt myself a lot. I like pain for some reason. So I went and did this, lost, bought brand new shoes, lost the shoes in the mud. Right?
They just got sucked up.
They just got sucked off. Yeah, they just got sucked off. So I ended the race with no shoes. Never forget that. But the old lady, we were talking to people, and I was like, and they were like, "You did a good job, and it was great." It was just such a positive experience, and it was, again, I was born in East St. Louis. I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm from the hood, right? And so to experience stuff like that, I didn't know what a race was, right, until I joined the Marine Corps and was exposed to it, and then it was just a slow, steady thing from there. I had a friend. I met in Cali at a school, and then I went to another school about 10 years later when I was a gunny, and I ended up meeting her husband. And I didn't know that they even connected, but I met him. I was like, man, he's like, such and such? I was like, yeah, I know her. He's like, oh, that's my wife. I said, oh, great. He said, then I seen him one day in them tight tights we just was talking about.
Yeah.
I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm about to go ride my bike. I was like, I cycle too, bro. And he was like, you cycle? I was like, yeah, that's right. I said, why you? Then we started talking. He said, I brought my bike up to do a triathlon. I was like, and what is this you say? Who? Right? A triathlon. And he said, you want to go to the pool with me? Worst experience of my life. The pool, I'll never forget it. It was so hard. It was so hard. I think I was swimming like 340s on the 100 or something like that. It was ridiculous. And so I did that. I was with him, and then I kept cycling and stuff, and then I got stationed in Cali. And then really the rest is history. A young man, retired Marine now, Marine captain called Tran. He's actually the team manager of Wadi.
Yeah, I know too. He carried the flag for us.
Yep, he introduced me to triathlon.
Right
He
on.
literally did it. He said I was at the pool, and he's like, "Hey, you need help?" He coached me for Vitamin Full, literally.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and they called two the mayor of Carlsbad at that time, and because he just knew everybody, and
God,
I was
yeah, I
with him
know.
a lot, and that's how you got it, man. And I ended up working for Ironman. Paula Newby Fraser, Rock and Huddle, and Heatherford. They hired me to work their events. Then the next thing you know, they was like, Ironman needs some volunteer directors for the Southern California races. They was like, hey, we want you to do it. I met the Godfather. He said, only want Morgan for my volunteer director. And then I started doing that. And then Paula Newby Fraser talked me into becoming an Ironman coach before it was even launched. She said, I think this would be great for you. I became an Ironman coach. Bro, it's been a
Wow.
hell of a journey. And
Yeah,
now I'm here.
you caught that motivation train. I love that. A quick story
Yeah.
about Tu Tran is hilarious. Is that of course everybody knows him, and he carried the flag for his Gold Star Initiative last year in Oceanside. I met him on the course of Vineman Half, the first year that Ironman bought it, and I remember because I was riding my bike, and on the kit, on my shorts it said Semper Fidelis, and I hear as he's passing me, because he passes everybody on the bike. Just hear this, "Elliot," and then he passing me. I'm like, I think I just got passed by another Marine right there. And then I didn't see him after that race, but when I met him down in Super Frog, I'm like, asked him about that. He's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." I was like, so then I got to know Tu Tran just like everybody else, the mayor of Carlsbad.
Yeah.
That's
What
awesome.
year was you at Super Frog? What year was you at Super Frog?
Super Frog, I'm trying to think. 2017.
Yep, I was volunteer director that year.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the year that Two was down. He said Two was down there because he was. I remember he wasn't happy with that sand run. Like that
Oh
heat was
yeah.
kicking his butt. It put a whooping on him.
That is no joke. It gets. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a hard pack when you're right by the breakers, right in the surf.
Yeah,
But
Is the whole run, I mean, how is the whole run on sand?
a good amount of it, not all of it, but a good amount of it.
most of it.
Yeah,
But it ain't because, like you said, it's a hard pack. But once the tide comes in, you'll lose some of that. But
yeah,
Mhm.
then like there's a part where you don't get a choice if it's hard pack or not. It's just sugar, like a sugar cookie type
yeah.
thing,
You're
right?
just. It feels like when you're in a dream trying to run, you just get nowhere.
Yeah, you can't get nowhere. Like you lifting your legs high, and it's like the sand is just like parted because everybody that dug it down. But like it's just you just trying to get out of it, and it's just
Mhm.
hot. It's like really hot. It's right by Mexico, so it's like
Yeah.
stupid hot down there.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Whenever I see, like, people on Instagram or like they'll show on TV or someone's like working out and they're running on the sand, I'm like, they're not these people are not really working. I mean, they're not really. I mean, maybe they are. Maybe if they're a Marine or something. But a lot of the times, I was thinking of like one of my favorite HGTV people. The beginning of the show, they show her like kind of running on the sand. I'm like, she's not working out. That's
Yeah.
not because
It's
she.
like a 10-second clip.
Right. I'm like the way that she's running. There's no way that that's what she's doing every day because the sand's all choppy and she's kind of,
You ain't lying,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Sand ain't no joke. I've run on it a couple times, and every time I remember one time I had a great idea to run on the sand with barefooted for like 3 miles.
Oh yeah. How'd your cast feel?
My feet felt like somebody put them through, like they was like somebody beat them up, like you know what I mean,
Yeah,
with like a
yeah.
meat tenderizer, and they were just so sore and hurting because I just you got to just be so it's just so dynamic to run in the sand, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so everything is moving, and yeah, I never did that again. That I never will do that again, actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a good training if you do it just a little bit, but if you try to overdo it and do like a normal run, man, I
Yeah.
just remember like my calves just being just dead, and like you say, the feet being beat up because like your feet aren't used to that.
yeah,
No.
I
No.
used to,
No.
when I train people for Superfall, when I coach people for Superfall, and if they're near a beach, what I do is like I take portion of the run and I'll put them in the sand for like a quarter mile and bring them back out, and
Mhm.
we'll do loops like that, quarter mile down the
Mm-hmm.
beach on the strand, and quarter mile on the beach on the strand, just kind of get them used to that, right? But
Yeah.
it depends on the beach and things like that. So,
Did you guys do wildflower? Remember, gosh, it
oh
was
man,
during the drought. There was a year. where during the drought, Wildflower had that weird transition A, 1A and 1B, where you got out of the water and you had to run that like mile on the
The
sand to
mud,
the
the
muddy
mud and the
sand.
sand.
Yeah, exactly. It was like sand, and I was like, "Oh, this sucks." And then it went into mud, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I want the sand back." You know what I mean?
I didn't do that race, but like I know about it because like that's a California, right? That's a
Mhm.
California thing, right? That's a lot of people do it, and
Yeah.
I heard nothing but very, very artistic feedback regarding all
That
the
year was, I mean,
running in the mud.
it's
Yeah.
always a hard race, that race, because it's a lot of steepness. I mean, it's always a hard race, but that year I did do it that year. First of all, because the water was so low and it was the silt or
Mm,
whatever in it, the water was, it was just black. And for whatever reason, at that time, it was, I think I was in the women's 40 to 45, 40 to 44. Our cap color was black. And so we were in the water. We're like, they're not going to see. I mean, because the water was
Oh yeah.
literally, we're like, hopefully none of us drown because they're not going to see us in the, in the water with these black caps on. And then you come out and you had to put on some shoes. I mean, basically you had to, because it was,
Yeah.
I guess you didn't have
yeah,
to, but it was like mud with sticks. And it was like a mile to the next. So you're
Oh,
kind of running in your wetsuit, and then you would ride, and then you would finish your run.
that
It was,
reminds me a little bit of Santa Cruz, the 70.3 there, because you run onto the beach, you fit, and then you have that. It's like it feels like a quarter-mile transition, and you got to go
yeah,
across the pavement and all those little rocks there. So a lot of people were smart and they put their shoes like right at the beach there. But then Santa
yeah.
Cruz also has a lot of homeless people there, so they just saw these free shoes laying around. So I didn't bring shoes because I just didn't think that far ahead, and I just deal with the pain, I guess. Deal with
I
my
had flip
ignorance.
flops at Santa Cruz. It
Oh
didn't help.
yeah.
It was too wet, but
What
it
made
kept me from
my
getting
what
stabbed with a
made
needle.
oh yeah. What made my
That's
transition tolerable is I just see, the homeless people walking around with like new Hokas and Newtons and stuff, just loving it.
Got him.
Yeah.
Got him.
Yeah.
That's so that's so messed up, man. No, no, it makes sense though. I've done some races where you set your shoes out, but I never thought about it actually. Get my shoes taken, but hey, somebody's game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So Morgan, we found ourselves on your team captain for this Ironman VR triathlon.
Mm.
What are we calling it? Um, Relay series. So it's a sprint, Olympic, and half iron.
It's Iron Man Team VR.
Yeah.
So it's this week is sprint, next week is 70.3, and the last week is Olympic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I'll do like so you can have up to, so you got the team captains, me, Shannon, and Ryan, and then we can have from 3 to 9 people on our team, right? And
Right.
so basically you can have three different people every week help you, you know, build your score up for, the race board or the scoreboard. I have only 3, and I will take those same 3 throughout the whole thing.
Oh,
I don't
cool.
want to. One, I don't want to deal with logistics of that. 9 people is a whole lot of people to deal with.
Yep.
2, I'm a Marine. I like teams, right? Yeah, I like teams. I don't want a whole bunch of random people or just mixture. I want us all to go through it, the whole process together.
I love it.
What we get is what we get, right? I pick people that are friends and super fans, right? Like Luthar, I've seen him race the whole time. He is fast. He qualified for Kona. Like he put down he put down a 17-minute 5K yesterday.
Woo!
Right. And then we have Heather. Heather is a swim coach, right? She put down an 11-minute 800 yards, right?
Nice.
And then Allison is a badass, right? And she holds the first course bike record for Indian Wells 70.3, right? And so, and these all age groupers and all people that I've literally met on social media, literally. And
That's
so
awesome.
I asked them, I said, will you come with me? And they're like, yes, let's do it. And it's been great. And so, yeah, we actually have introduction today at 7 on Facebook Live for Ironman Now, and then tomorrow is the bike ride, right?
Yep.
So crush the sprint, 12.4 miles and make it hurt really, really, really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, so I don't know if we talked about this, but I'm on Team Shannon. So I'll be doing the bike
Do
for
we
her.
have it?
Yeah.
We,
So find ourselves
the
in opposite teams. Yeah.
What distance you doing?
I'll be doing the Olympic bike. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll be doing that, and originally I was supposed to be doing the Olympic swim too, but right now it looks like I'm just doing the bike. But yeah,
okay.
I'm looking forward to this. This is fun.
Well, you gotta deal with Allison. Yeah, you gotta deal with Allison.
God, I'm scared now. I'm gonna take that fear. I'm gonna take that fear and pound it on the pedals.
Yeah, it's crazy. We friends to be at her, but like when I say she's strolling the bike, bro, I mean like she's stronger than me and most people I know, males. She pushing down her FTPs like 300 or above, bro.
Yeah, that's
like she is fast.
Oh my God.
Worlds. Yeah, she number one in her age group by 7 minutes. So India Wales, like she's a force.
Yeah.
300?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just did my very first FTP like a week ago. My coach was finally like, he's like, let's try to, do something. So
yeah.
It's nowhere near. I can't even. I'm blown away right now. I can't even fathom a 300.
Yeah.
It's I seen a post the other day, right? And it was a post about like where a woman pro I think she's the pro athlete or trying to go pro. She realized how many age group females are out there that are capable of going pro that just don't.
I saw that. Yeah.
She had you seen it?
It was from Challenge, right?
Correct. Challenge Miami. Yeah, she posted this thing, and it made me think because I know a lot of fast women, but the guys want to get into that, but women are like they if they're in their families or their career, and it takes a whole. I know Sika Henry, and like she'll tell you she's in the corporate world, and like she didn't know at the beginning how much training that she was gonna have to do to go out there to get her pro card. Right, there's so much on that these pro athletes or these high level elite athletes are trying to do, and like it's a lot of women out there that just are okay with just winning their age group, and they're good with that because they don't want that extra commitment. But they fast, man. Like that FTP, that's pro level.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. That's literally what that is, man. Even for guys.
Well, that's why I was so blown away when I saw my current age group, like the women, what they're qualifying for Kona, and these are 50-year-old women, 50 to 54, and they are doing like a sub 11-hour Ironman. And I'm like, who are these are like 50-something-year-old women? What? I mean, like Mike would say, that's fast for like
that's faster than
a 37-year-old dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's
I had a friend. I think he's in his 70s now, but I think it was 64, 69 was the age group in Oceanside. And if you look at that, look at the age group, they're going sub 5 hours in that age group.
Stop. That is insane.
So my old plan used to be
crazy.
I can maybe make it if I just outlive everybody and just stay in the sport long enough, maybe I'll qualify for something. And now I'm looking at times, I'm like, no, because these people are like in their 60s and they're going faster than I'm going in my 40s. So I guess not.
Yeah, certain races, like I've chalked it up as like, because I'm not fast. Like I'm the middle of the middle pack or middle of the or the back of the middle pack, right? I'm not slow and I'm not super fast either in certain things. But I learned the things that I had to qualify for, I'm just gonna have to get there other ways. If I want to go to Kona, either I'm gonna have to raise some money, either I'm gonna have to do it for work or something like that. If I want to go to Boston, I'm gonna have to get a donation slot. I mean, it's just not going. It's just it's reality. So sometimes you gotta look at other ways to get there. And hopefully,
you're speaking my language, man. You're speaking my language.
Yeah, foundation like that's you can do it, man, and you're just as valuable. I think it's just with the whole thing about like these slots that that you can get to go to these places or win something is like you're giving something of yourself, right? It could be all your effort as the winner, or it could be all your effort as doing something for somebody else and being selfless, right? So it's just
That's a
depending on what
really
you got.
good point. That's an
Yeah.
amazing point. I never thought about it that way, really. I mean, I'm very inspired by what Mike does, obviously, but I hadn't thought about it like for your average person like myself, like, oh, you could just give in a different way.
Yeah,
That's it.
Huh.
it's knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and knowing how you can get ahead. I like how you put that, Morgan.
Yeah, that was great.
We don't think of it like that. We just say it's never possible. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
possible when you make it possible. Like my motto is like, it's like I'm not trying to figure out if I can do it. I'm trying to figure out how I can do it.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I live my life, because that's how I've got this far. I've been in the Marine Corps going on 23 years, 24? I don't know.
I'm losing
A long
count.
time. Right. Yeah. I literally put my retirement papers in yesterday. So I was trying to remember, and for next year. And you get to a point where it becomes routine. It's like the book Power of Habits, how you kind of,
Yep.
that the ability to change who you are by just changing what you do every day. Right.
Mhm.
And so when you think, you manifest, or you speak into a certain way, you manifest this lifestyle that you have. But like you said, if you just have to find another way to give, find another way to be a part of it, right? And don't take life in a way as like it's, oh, woe is me, or I'll never have, or I'll never be.
Mhm.
Just say like, this is what I'm blessed with, and this is what I'm going to use to the best of my ability. And I
Mm.
think you use that in triathlon, you use that
Mm-hmm.
in life, and you, however you want to grow, just changing how you think and feel about what's going to be accomplished can be very powerful.
Do you
Very.
do you interject that into your coaching? I gotta imagine you do, and instead of just giving people like plans to work out, but your philosophy of like how to think and manifest things and take those actions to create those habits.
Yes, I am the mindset guy, right? When I usually talk, I talk about the stuff that we're talking about right now. You hear
Yeah.
me? I get into my preacher mode, and I start getting deep and really Buddha, Ghetto Buddha on you, right?
Ghetto
And
Buddha.
I can get a Buddha on you. That's what my athletes call it,
I love
Love
it.
it.
because like my athletes say, they say you're more than a coach, right? I'm not trying to coach you for a experience. I'm trying to help you create a better lifestyle, how
Yeah.
to be a better person, right? We literally taught this in the Marine Corps. It's like, when we come in, we want to leave better citizens. Like that's a thing, right? And I want to impart that on people, because my growth has been more emotional and mental. And I think just anybody can coach you with the science. Like, it's not hard. Like, dude, run this pace, zone this, and do that. But what we miss, that I was told this by one of my older long ago coaches, is like, what do you think sets people apart that go to the Olympics, that are coached at the Olympics, that are coached at the other level? He said it's their mental game.
Yeah.
Because even when you get down to the genetics of everything, there's going to be a piece of that mental and emotional game that most people don't work on. And that's going to be the one thing that gets you that one more second, or helps you push to the line when the other person gives up. That's how you become the greatest. It's not about how physically awesome you are. It's how mentally strong you are that helps
Mhm.
you achieve great things.
Yeah, how the mental strength, even from getting up early. I think Kobe Bryant said it like, what separates a lot of people is not just the talent, it's getting up at 4 a.m. and like having that mindset,
Yep.
like putting in that work, like believing you can and going the extra effort. I hear
Work,
that.
bro.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, and so for me to be better, like, I started putting in the work for myself. Like, in the last 2 years, I've read over 200 some odd books, right? And it just started off as a challenge for myself, reading one a week, right? Or and then last year I went to I did 92, and then I was like, how am I going to learn people? And because I freaking hate school, can't stand it, don't like it, don't want to ever go, right? But then I was like, okay, how do I get to know people? Well, how do you get to know anything? How do you get to do anything? You do it more. And so last year I spoke to over 1,000 people, right? Just getting to know them, having relationships with them. This is one reason why I'm known. People think, where does God come from, or what do I do? It's because I create relationships with everybody I meet, because I believe that we were put on this earth to be together. And it's my duty to actually introduce myself or create a relationship with you if you were to create a relationship with. right?
Yeah.
No reason I reached out to you or how us talking and you know, Lynn, and I want to say it right, Lindsay or Lindsay?
Lindsay.
How you say
Yeah.
it? Lindsay, right? It's you like now we're going to be friends for life. Like this just going to happen, right? That's because I want it to happen, and that's if you're the mayor of your town every time you go into it, and I want to be the mayor of you know triathlon or the triathlon community in a positive way, then all those connections are going to come tenfold. In if you're impacting somebody's life in a positive way, the universe will pay you back.
I agree.
Right,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
agree.
what you do, what we do. That's what it's all about, man. And the reason why we are successful is because everybody else is worried about the negative and the turmoil and the disagreements, and we're thinking about how can we bring more positivity and life to the world and more exposure to the things that are not getting that exposure and the people that are not getting exposure, that are not being seen for their hearts. And when we miss that, we kind of miss life, man. And you know, I go off into a tangent, so I'm a digress back into
No,
the
I like that. First of all, have you trademarked that Ghetto Buddha? Because that needs to be a brand, man. I like that.
No, man. I was up in I was teaching. What was I was I don't know if you see the videos of me working with the young lady in New York. Latoya.
I have it on cue, but no, I haven't watched that yet.
You got to watch those, right? And I was up there and like she's a speaker too, like she's a motivational speaker and she does all this, but she's really like she's strong, right? And I get strong people because like that shit don't mean nothing to me because I'm a Marine. Like I do it alphas every day. Like you don't intimidate me. And we was driving to somewhere in Manhattan and she asked me a question and I hit her with something hard and like even the driver and everybody turned around like. She was like, "Damn, that was some Ghetto Buddha stuff." Like, it was just out of nowhere, and then it just, you know, it's just one of the nicknames that I carry, man. And the people's coach, right? All those different things, but it's all this imparted knowledge on all the mistakes that I've made that I want everybody else to do a different way. That's all.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? Some of those mistakes, those common mistakes that are pitfalls for people, like in the sport and life in general, that you see?
The imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, not looking at everybody else like they're the problem instead of looking at yourself, the mirror, right? I think I call that the mirror, right? And so that's huge to me. I think that we blame everything on the universe and the world instead of looking within ourselves first for the answers that we actually possess, right? But we don't have the courage to call ourselves out.
That is true. Right? Looking in the mirror, the mirror.
And that's a huge and go ahead.
I'll digress a little bit. I remember in boot camp, some guy got caught as an integrity violator. So Lindsay, this is when you caught lying or stealing or something. But he'd snuck out to go use the phones. Big no in boot camp. And they had him sitting in front of a mirror, and his punishment was pointing to a mirror and said, "I'm not the liar, you are. I'm not the liar, you are," like into the mirror. And it was he had to do this for an hour. It got old pretty quick, but it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, but if you look at it, like if you look at, I mean everything. This is like total vulnerability. Like this is hard. This is hard. When the next time you blame something on anybody, the guy at the light, the person that cut you off, look at yourself and ask yourself how you could have did it better. Who has the power, the strength to do that every time? Because then you're like, damn, right? Like, even when I do with my wife, and I'm like, we say something, and I'm mad at her for some reason, then I walk off justifying, like, yeah, you should have been listening. Then I say, then I step back, and the right thing to do is the hardest thing to do most of the time, right? And so I step back. I'm like, yeah, that was all me. I could approach this totally differently. Like, it literally changed when I started thinking that way, right? When I started accepting what he is and mirroring the image and saying, instead of saying, you hurt me, I said, I hurt myself because my actions dictate your actions. How could I have prevented that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's hard. It's so hard to do. It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
There's the comedian Godfrey. I heard him say it on stage, one of his routines. He's like, that's that uncomfortable toilet splash of truth right there, you know?
It's hard. It's like, Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, in terms of the imposter syndrome and the self-sabotage, like that's kind of my zone that that's like my default setting, I guess. I've worked on it a long time, but kind of just harkening back to when you were saying, oh, there's all these women out there who have the skill set and are opting not to go pro, and that may be the case. I mean, they may be looking at it and also saying like, I don't have, I've got work and family and stuff, but I being a woman and knowing a lot of women, I bet there's a lot of women who feel the way I do, which is the default setting is just that that sort of like not good enough type of mentality. And one of my sort of spiritual advisors said to me, I've been working on this for a long time, but it's like it's something that kind of was set in me during my formative years. So it's taken a while to dig it out, but one of my spiritual advisors said to me, like, being focused on that, like I'm the piece of crap that the world revolves around, is still self-centered. Like even if you don't feel good about, like, if you don't feel good about yourself or you feel like you're an imposter, that's still a self-centered position to be coming from. And
Interesting.
and I don't want to be a self-centered person. That's not what I didn't view myself that way, because I always think of self-centered people as being overly
Being
proud of
arrogant, being
themselves, overly, but
narcissistic.
it's actually both sides of the coin are self-centered. And
Yeah.
and I was like, when she said that, that was the toilet splash of truth in my face. I was like, what the because she basically was calling me out on being selfish and self-centered.
Yeah, you are.
And
Yeah.
because what you have to offer to the world, and what you can do for others is going to be stymied by your own focus on how shitty you are.
Yep. Exactly. That's a
I
good
got
point.
this one for you. Like, one, you are enough, right? You said you're not good enough, like, and I know you say this to yourself, and you probably heard it. You are enough, right? And this is the reason why. What we fail to see is the thing how far we have come, right? You've come too far to go this far. If we look back and think at all other things in life that we didn't think we were going to get through, and actually appreciate it for what it is, the resilience building moment in our universe, then you will know that you have the strength to persevere this too, even at this time, or even the thing you don't think you're good enough at, right? And my first book, when I wrote about like becoming an amazing coach, is about people that always keep telling me, "Oh, I wanted to become a coach. Man, I always wanted to be a coach. Oh man, how do I become a coach?" And they never do it because that's that imposter syndrome. They never think they're good enough to be a coach because they think they don't have enough degrees and all that stuff. Like, I don't got no college degree. I hate school, right? But no, I found my thing, right? I found my thing, and I made it the best of it, my niche. And it ain't too. I don't know nobody out there better than me at it, because I put in the work,
Yeah.
right? And the piece of it is that imposter syndrome is actually healthy. People don't look at it this way though. It's actually healthy is because you want to be better for it. Like we look at ourselves and we're like, man, I'm not sure. It's a healthy thing to question one's ability to be where you want to be. Because we don't question what it's not, then how can we figure out what is? We have to ask ourselves, like, am I supposed to be here? And then do those exact things to make sure that you have earned the right to be there.
That's true.
That's the key. Like that's and so it's not always like, it's just like your spiritual guidance, your guidance counselor was telling you, right? Is like, don't always look at things from one view. Look at it from the other side as well, because the good without the bad makes nothing, right? It doesn't give you a level of appreciation or level of life that anybody wants to live. It's the hard things, the hard moments that make us who we are, that create that resilience, that character, that fortitude that we never had before to make us better. That drive in itself inspires others to do great things.
Yep.
So yeah.
I like that. So if you take the imposter syndrome and use it to drive action, then it's a healthy thing.
Right.
Like
right.
That makes sense.
It's like anything.
Yep.
If you use it the wrong way, it don't matter. Like that's just life. There's a positive and negative to everything. If you drive your car too fast, you're doing a reckless driver. You drive it too slow, you're being a reckless driver, unsafe. But you have to find harmony between the speed and the slow speed to see where you need to be in life. So it's the imposter syndrome. You can say, take it to the extreme, like, I'm not meant to be here. And then you can take it to the other extreme and say, I think I am, but I'm just going to try harder to prove everybody wrong. Or you can meet in the middle. It's like, I'm going to use this as a tool to make sure that I validate my own actions by preparing myself to be good at what I do and in this place and in this space right now. Right. Yeah. So it's finding harmony in between anything in life and using that area to live and not just exist.
Yeah. One of our past guests, Adam Hill, talked about using his anxiety as a superpower. Yeah, Adam, right? And anxiety is a superpower because he's like, okay, now I'm super aware of things and I can be more conscious and more focused. If I use that to be aware of myself and my environment, I can make improvements and I can use that to my advantage. So again, driving action instead of just letting it cripple you. So I like that, being able to take something which a lot of us see as like a fault or a shortcoming and make it a strength.
And that, and that goal for, being balanced in between the two, like you were saying, the slow driving and the fast driving, for the goal to be being in the center is, well, first of all, it's a Buddhist tenet. So, the middle way is a Buddhist tenet, but so I like that. And I do like school. So I have double bachelor's degree, and then I wasn't good enough. So I went and got an MBA, and then I wasn't good enough. So I've, took the CPA exam. And so now I'm a CPA, MBA, and my partner was like, can we be done with school now? Because I'd like some attention on the weekend, and all you do is, train and then go to school and work. So it's like, fine, like, okay, yeah, I've done the stuff. And like you said, I need to put in the work. I did. So now I need to let that go, though.
Yeah. Let that shit go.
I think it's fine. And I want to go back and not correct you, but kind of give you a different way of thinking, Lindsay. And don't seek to find balance, because balance has a tipping point. Seek to find harmony, fluidity, right? That's where you want to, because everybody say, oh, I want to be flexible. Well, flexible has a breaking point. I want to be balanced. Well, balance has a tipping point. Well, but fluidity and harmony work together as one, both feeding each other. That's what we seek to find.
I see.
Yeah, that's amazing. I like that. Yeah.
Ghetto Buddha.
Exactly.
Ghetto Buddha. Well, and it's like finding harmony with the seasons too. Like, our off season, we're doing a little different training. We're not in our peak shape, or our base mode. We're not doing a lot of sprints. So you're finding harmony with wherever you are and not doing the same balanced training every single week, every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. And that's where coaches come in, right? That's where mentors come in, or guides, they come in. They help people understand how do we bring them together? Right? How do we bring these things together? And like, how can we flourish on the off season, and to make sure that when we get to the race season, that we're good to go. Like everything is working together as one, instead of saying, I need to do this right now and do this right now. And you constantly trying to build everything up instead of saying, like, okay, let me look at 365 days. How can I do that and make every day count and fulfilling, right? Instead of saying, oh, I'm gonna just do all this and all that. No, and that's why you see the athletes that fluctuate like that are seeking to find balance, right? They hit their tipping point when they're training too hard, or they don't rest enough, or they go too hard in the off season. They're not looking at the bigger picture. And I think that's what life is. It's not that you have to project like the future or anything else, but if you set anything out that we do in the bigger scheme of things, it's our life's journey. And to see our life's journey, we must actually plan out our map and our direction to the destination that we seek to find. Within that, each day, within each moment of that direction, there are things that we need to do, and that's going to affect if the future thing is ever achieved. We need to do that. That's what we're not doing right. That's what we're not doing correctly in so many ways in life. But in training, seek to find that 365 days or 2 years or 4 years and plan that out. And then you will have better direction and more at a bigger purpose on a daily basis for everything that you do, right? It's just a little bit of improvement every day, a little bit, not a whole bunch.
Yeah, I like that. Morgan, I could listen to you talk all day.
Same.
Because
I
I
can
love
talk
the
all day.
motivation. I bet. Yeah. Speaking of which, you got a new podcast out, right?
Yeah, triathlete mindset, as we talk
Yeah.
about mindset, right? And so my thing was, I was looking at podcasts. People were telling me, Hoka was like, podcast this, podcast, and some other people were telling me, and I'm like, but everybody's talking to like certain type of people, right? And I said, so I don't mind talking to like pros or like people that's won the age group or like really technical scientist guys or coaches that are really technical and data driven. But like, who talking to the people about being people? Because before you were a triathlete, you a partner, you a husband, you
Yeah.
are, you have your own career, your own profession, your brother or sister, and who helps you navigate that? That's what makes me a different coach, right? Because your life is who you are before you were a triathlete. Because triathlon is gone, which people during the pandemic put their identity in triathlon, and poof, something they didn't control didn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right. But if you realize who you were and triathlon is merely an addition to your life, then the harmony is found. And that's where we have to help people find that, man. But I think within the podcast, I talk to athletes, I talk to coaches, I talk to fast people, slow people. It doesn't matter. I talk to people that be like, oh, I have nothing to say with the imposter syndrome. Like, nobody wants to listen to my story. I said, guess what? Even though you struggle every day, you wake up with a different attitude. And there's somebody listening to this that doesn't know as much as you do that will benefit from one piece of this information. That's all that matters.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so we talk about real stuff and whatever comes up. And we usually, I just did one with Sika Henry. And it was about anti-quit, and we just talked about like how her family supports her and like how she has hard moments and how like she always wants to quit every time she has a hard workout, but she doesn't because she has the goal. She's driven, right? And so that's the stuff people need to hear. Now it's like, man, so what do you go for going to Kona? What it is like that? What about you did? Yeah, we hear that all the time, but who talks about the people? The people make up the community. The community is triathlon.
Yeah,
So that's
you're
what
speaking our language here, and I want all our listeners to go and check out the Triathlete Mindset and subscribe to that and give it some reviews and check it out because we got a little taste of it today, and I know we got to wrap up. But where can people find you, and what do you have going on next, and what should people be looking at, Morgan?
Yeah, some big stuff going on. I'm about to publish my second book, started writing the third, but the first one is called Becoming an Amazing Coach, right? And then you can find me at morgonlatimore.com, and Morgan is spelled Morgon for those that want to put an A in there. Just want to make sure we clear that.
Oh, yeah.
The recent thing is the Ironman VR. Follow me. When you see me out there, please, please, please vote for me. Vote for me. Let's raise. I'm trying to, win and get that $5,000 to send to my charity. And that's it, man. If you ever need me, I'm here, and I'll say the same thing you hear in my podcast. Just remember, and this goes for Lindsay as well, you are enough. You just have to believe it.
Yeah.
Thank you. And also on Instagram, Coach Morgon Latimore. I just followed him.
Nice. And we'll put the links to all that in the show notes so everyone check it out. Look in your show notes right now. Follow what Morgan's got going on.
Awesome.
Motivational speeches like every single day. So it is awesome. Morgan, your wealth of knowledge, wealth of motivation. I appreciate you taking your time and coming on our podcast, and wish you all the best. Except for this VR, I hope we crush it, but you got a strong team. So.
Got it. Duly noted.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun to meet in person after all this is done with.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Maybe I'm going to be at Indian Wells, hopefully, and hopefully Mike will come. Maybe you can come over to Indian Wells and
I'll try. Yeah, I'll be everywhere. Just let me know. But we'll have both of you guys. I want both of you guys on my podcast, and we'll do that as well too.
Oh, we'll make that happen for sure. Awesome.
Cool. All right, age groupies. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Alrighty.
That concludes today's episode of the Age Groupies podcast with me, Lindsay Hyken, and my co-host, Mike Ergo. We really hope you enjoyed it. You can follow the show on Instagram at Age Groupies, join our Age Groupies page on Facebook, and look us up by name, Lindsay Hyken and Mike Ergo on Strava. If you have questions, comments, or topic ideas, feel free to email us at agegroupies@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please leave a rating and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, as this really helps us get more exposure while we try to grow this little venture. And of course, if you have friends you think might like the show, please be sure to share it with them. But for now, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week.